All right, good morning. Welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac podcast here on the 1010XL podcast platform, 1010XL.com, of course, and the 1010XL app. We are live on Facebook on 1010's page, my own page as well, and my producer and buddy Grammage will take all that footage from Facebook and put it all over social media and other podcast platforms right here at the 1010XL podcast studios. Of course, brought to me by good friends of Team Tommy Mac and just a group of businesses that do it great here in Northeast Florida, here in Duval and beyond. You get a little bit of everything with Team Tommy Mac, and there's room for more. There's always room for more. I promote you on this show, on a couple other shows, all over social media, and out in the streets, and I enjoy doing that, no doubt about that. Great people running great businesses on Team Tommy Mac. Lots to get into today. We'll do a little weekend review. It was a great weekend. My weekend ended Monday night. Tom Coughlin Jay Fund was Sunday. The dinner was Sunday night, and the golf was Monday. I MC the awards banquet every year after the golf and absolutely love doing that. And then I finished my Monday by going to, what are they calling these things? Town halls, community things. Well, it was at Fletcher High School. Mayor Donna Deegan, Mark Lamping, Mike Weinstein, collectively the city and the Jaguars organization presenting the new stadium. What it all means. We'll get into that, but just a great weekend. We'll get into some OTAs, get a little to Christian Kirk, look around the NFL and the NFL international program. We'll talk about that briefly today here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. But before we do, let's say hello to Grammage. Grammage, what's up, brother?
Good morning, sir.
You have a good weekend?
I did.
How were the Jags beach bars this weekend? Good?
I did
hit them
not
at all?
partake.
What's that?
I would not know.
Oh, you didn't hit them this weekend. Normally, you net your spot. You guys hit the beach bars.
Yeah, well, Saturday had 4 flag football games in the morning.
Oh, whoa!
And then I was
hopefully no injuries out there.
No, I was stiff for sure.
Yeah,
I was hurting the last few days. But no injuries.
Okay, that's fun.
And then
flag
Saturday,
or touch? Like you got flags? You actually got flags?
Yep,
okay,
yep.
Cool.
And then Saturday night, I was running camera for the Sharks.
Yeah.
Jacksonville Sharks.
Oh, nice.
So a packed working weekend on Saturday, and then Sunday I just chilled, just hung around.
I ever tell you the story of the time my oldest brother's best friend growing up, and a friend of mine, Steve Kleekamp, asked me to play in his league's touch football game or flag football game. Did I ever tell you that story? I'd been cut by the Saints, and I moved back to Chicago, and I was bartending, and he called me up and says, hey, me and it's pretty competitive, bunch of guys get together, different towns, and we play at this field, and, if you want to come play, we'd love for you to play on our team. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll come down and just kind of, I don't know, rush the pass or something, whatever. So anyway, we agree on a date, and the phone rings on that date, and I answer the phone really groggily, and Steve Kleekamp's like, where you at? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, Tommy, it's Sunday morning. You told me you're going to play on our game. Hungover as you can be. Now I'm 23 years old, dying. I mean, absolutely dying. I get a ride down. It's in the suburbs, so I'm like 40 minutes away. No food, no nothing. I get to the field feeling like hell. I mean, just feeling awful. I said, I just need a few minutes by myself because he came up. He's like, hey, man, you all right? I'm like, I said, I just had a late night, but I'll be fine. I need a few minutes. So I go off to the side. It's like, it's like grass field and there's little woods. So I go by the woods. And I start yakking. I mean, just yakking. There. And it was awful. Tie up my shoes. Go over. He's like, you want to play? I'm like, man, I didn't come all the way down here to not play. I'll just, put me at defensive end. I'll go rush the passer. 3 sacks, first 3 plays, and a safety. And I never rushed a passer for in my life. I'm just like, I'm like, okay, here's your flag back. Next play. And anyway, my friend Steve comes over across. He's like, it's going to be a game like that, huh? I'm like, I don't know, man. I thought you said you guys could play some ball down here or something, but man, it was a tough one, no doubt about it. But flag football is great, man. I love those. I miss like Thanksgiving flag days. Those are the best. You know what I mean? When you got a bunch of cousins and friends and, Thanksgiving Day games and stuff like that. I don't know. That was always a great. I'll tell you my weekend in a minute, but my Saturday night, I tell you what, Saturday, hats off to Neptune Beach and Atlantic Beach, Florida, for hosting Dancing in the Streets. What an awesome, awesome event. And no problems whatsoever. Didn't see any. No fights, no nothing. It was no big deal at all. We all had a great, great time. Got a great spot at the Lemon Bar. Found a table, which was crazy because it was jam-packed. That was a party. And if you were a young person, man, you should be in there every damn weekend. I tell you what, that place is rocking. But we sat there for a while. Then went to Ragtime, got a great table, had great dinner. And then the Mosquitoes, the band who performed at our wedding 24 years ago, they were the headliner to close out Dancing in the Streets. So we got a seat up front. And my friend John and Gene and all those boys, they crushed it. It was like 1,000 people out there going nuts for them. It was so much fun right there. Then we get on our bikes and ride home, and we're home by like 11 o'clock. It was absolutely phenomenal, but a great, great Saturday night. Of course, it was the Tom Coughlin Jay Fund dinner on Sunday night. I always get to bring my beautiful wife and my oldest daughter, Avery, working for Adaptive Jags. You heard me mention them here on Team Tommy Mac. They were handling all the marketing, social media for the Jay Fund, so that was cool, seeing my daughter there. A lot of people were like, so cool, your daughter's like helping out at the Jay Fund. Been to every one, of course, the Jay Fund, named after Jay McGillis. Really cool lineup of celebrities. Didn't meet them all or talk to them all. Talked to a few. Troy Aikman was there. Ron Rivera. I got a chance to talk to Ron Rivera, which was cool. And the reason I went up to Ron Rivera is he was a linebacker for the Bears when they won the Super Bowl when I was a sophomore in high school. So I had to go tell him, like, you guys were our heroes, man. You guys were fantastic. It was so cool. He was a cool guy. Really cool guy. Of course, TC and company raised a ton of money, almost $800,000. It was great. It was great. Kevin Hardy was there. Tony Brackens, Kim Alexis, the Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. She was there. Just a good group of people, man. Good group of people for a great cause. And, of course, I enjoy being a small part of it. Dad Bods kicked it off Friday night. We had a great show. Thanks to everybody coming out. And then, like I said, last night I sat at Fletcher. Well, it was early evening, I guess. After the third question on Q&A, I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. Let's, I just wanted to hear it. I kind of knew it, but the numbers get me all swing. Like, there's a lot of numbers throwing me off. But look, at the end of the day, it's a fantastic investment for the city. And I know not everybody's going to be on board for it, but I'll tell you this, whether you like football or not, and I'm sure I'm biased in this statement, I'll say it up front, but the Jags helped with a huge amount of help put Jacksonville on the map. There's no doubt about it. And that's not a slight on Jacksonville. Look, I know natives would say, hey, we survived without them before. We can survive without them again. I understand that sentiment. However, it's one of 32 cities that gets an NFL team. And I know most people that watch this show and watch, 1010, they're sports people, so they want it to happen. It's going to happen. There's no way our Jaguars are leaving Jacksonville. There's no way. There's no way that our mayor, a native, Donna Deegan, an icon in the city for what she's done, especially with her breast cancer foundation, she's not going to let that walk out the door. There's no way. That would be you can't have that on your resume as a first-time mayor.
No mayor ever in Jacksonville wants to be the mayor that lost the Jags.
That lost the Jags. No, and you shouldn't, because it's going to look, you have to, and I shouldn't say you have to, but this is a lifelong investment. Say 30 years. This is a 30-year investment, and it's going to better our city. And when they get the entertainment section done, it's going to be rocking. It's going to be worth it. And maybe you don't like going down, whatever. You don't go downtown, but this is going to be a destination for people to come. We will get another Super Bowl, whether you want to or not. We will host the draft. We will get even bigger counts. I mean, there'll be more. There'll be bigger bowl games. There'll be Other college games, it'll be massive for the city. What Shad Khan's doing. By the way, I didn't know they were putting an office building next to. I guess I've been paying attention to the Four Seasons that most, if not all, of the organization will move into. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. That's great. So, look, it is a massive investment. At the end of the day, the mayor said it. She's like, look, we don't want to lose the team. If we don't have a new stadium, they start looking for another city that'll give them the stadium. And I've said this on the show many times. And look, you have to understand. Again, you don't have to. 32 owners make the call. He's got to get 24 votes to do anything. Think about that. He's got to get 2/3 the vote. So, there's a lot of truth to what she's saying because the other owners are going, hey, Shad, come on, man. We all got these brand new stadiums or they're coming. Buffalo and Tennessee are next. And Graham made a great point last Friday about saying, well, they get state funding, no doubt. If we had $500 million in state funding, we wouldn't even be batting an eye over this damn thing. You know what I mean? But it is. It's gonna be tremendous for our city. So I think it's good. I'm glad I went. I'm glad I learned a little bit about it. There wasn't much resistance from the crowd. They seemed pretty happy about it. It's going to cost money, but good things cost. They do. School costs money. High education costs. A lot of things. You want a nice house, costs money. You want a nice car, costs money. Things cost money. Grocery shopping costs money. I go all the time, right? It just does. So.
Well, and you got to spend money to make money, too.
You got to spend money, make money. Good call. You're right. And you got to look, I envision this city. Think about, and I'm talking downtown. And that's the only piece it's not even missing, but missing. Like our surrounding areas are top notch. There's nothing wrong with where I love Neptune Beach. Kidding me? I hope I never have to leave Neptune Beach. Atlantic Beach, the beaches, Riverside, Fleming Island out in the water, Arlington in the water. There's so many beautiful pockets of neighborhoods. Springfield, Murray Hill's coming up. There's a lot of different pockets that you're like, yeah, the surrounding areas are phenomenal. But what isn't phenomenal? Downtown's not phenomenal. And again, I'm gonna say it again. When we have our jail on Bay Street overlooking the river, that's as podunk as you can get. You got to move the jail. And I know, we're moving it. I've been hearing we're moving it for 20 years. You got move the jail. Get it the bump out of here. No disrespect to criminals, but you don't deserve a Riverview view. I'm sorry. You just don't. Get it out of here. Let's make all the way from the landing where it was, all the way down, all the way around the stadium, past tailgaters, and all the way down there on the water. Can you imagine all that built up inside where Lot J is, where the stadiums are, all of that built up into entertainment and offices and shops and are you kidding me? That's a destination. And not just people that live here. People from out of town will be like, man, you kidding me? You see all that kick-ass stuff on the river down there? You see all the stuff they got going on? I'm telling you, it's going to bring more and more and more people to the city. So go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know I'm a former player. I know, this means a lot to me. It does. It does. It means a hell of a lot to me. But I think it's worth it. I think the investment at the end of the day is going to be well worth it. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I was just thinking, when we kind of talked, we've talked about this multiple times and developing downtown and everything and making things. Everyone talks about bars. Everyone talks about restaurants. Everyone talks about shops. But you said something that was interesting, and I thought about this a couple weeks ago, which is offices.
Yeah. More jobs down there.
And
hell yeah.
The reason I think about that is, first of all, look at any big downtown. Every big business that's really happening has a really nice skyscraper downtown that's kicking ass, right? So I was thinking about, I had a buddy that came in town a couple weeks ago because we were going to a bachelor party that weekend, and he stayed with me, and he works for a huge accounting firm. So he was able to work for a day here at the Jacksonville location, so he'd have to take a day off. His company, again, Ernst & Young, huge accounting firm, right?
Yeah, of course.
Their office here is out towards Old St. Augustine.
Mm-hmm.
They're a huge firm.
Right.
Basically any other big city, they're in downtown.
No, right.
They are. he's my age and just works there. But say it was like someone of more consequence that's a big manager, a big boss, someone that makes big decisions, and they were doing that same thing. Yep. What if they were downtown, like they're on the 10th floor overlooking the river?
You'll bring those people.
Then they'd be like, shoot, man, I may just want to move here.
Right.
And make this my
headquarters.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're one of the few cities that have a river that come right through it. Maybe not a few, but not every city has a river running through it like we do on both sides that are developable. So
I'll say we're probably the only city that has a river run through it that then has the jail on it.
That has the jail on it. Yeah, you got him with the jail. Hey, the view on my personal Facebook's a little off. It's a long story, but we're here anyway, so that's good. I did find out, because I want to get into this with the NFL, and maybe a lot of you know this, but it's interesting with this international push, because it's happening all over with the National Football League. Go back to they try. You probably don't remember this. I played in a game. They tried this in Tokyo. Like my first ever NFL game was first preseason game in 1993 over in Tokyo. I was trying out for the Saints, and we played the Eagles. And I remember thinking, man, this flight is just ridiculous. It was like 15 hours from Minnesota, and we had to drive 3 hours from Wisconsin. That's where camp was. And I'm just like, who the hell would want to make this trip, right? And that was 1993. So you thought, okay, so then you understood, well, what's the UK's closer. They've been working with the UK forever. Go a little bit further, you're into Germany, go south, into South America. Not, they're not easy travel days, but not massive. But now, think about this. They're thinking a game in Melbourne, Australia, either in 2025 or 2026. And one thing I found that was interesting, Graham. So the Rams, much like the Jags, I guess, for the UK, were awarded the rights to play the game in Australia back in 2021. And they have exclusive rights to play there through January of 2027. I didn't know teams, it makes sense. They're the closest probably to Australia out of all the NFL teams. Them and the Chargers, right? Makes sense. But I didn't know teams bid on, hey, I want that territory, right? I mean, they get it for 6 years. That's interesting. I didn't know that, right? So that's what I'm saying. So look, we already know they're in the UK. We know they're in Germany, Spain. They're going to Madrid in 2025, Brazil this year. They are expanding. Can they make the other side work? So reading this article that was out there, you could play 12 noon Monday morning in Australia for a Monday night 9 o'clock kickoff Eastern Standard Time in the United States. So you could probably do that for Thursday as well, right, or Friday. And then you got that whole time to come back. It's a 14-hour time difference. There's got to be jet lag, and there's got to be, right? I know Doug's worked it out where, we leave right away. We come back home because the 5 hours it's adjustable by the time we play the next game. 14-hour difference might I'm assuming going to take longer to get adjusted to the new time zone when you're back home in the States.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought that was pretty interesting. The NFL International Player Pathway Program. Have you heard about that one? Yeah. So they have an academy in the UK. It makes sense. 2019. They're opening one in Australia the summer of 2024. I mean, this thing's expanding. They're gonna try to get back to Tokyo.
They're doing what
it's gonna be wild.
They're doing what the NBA did.
Yeah, right.
Which is, but it's kind of interesting. The NBA doesn't really play a lot of overseas games, which is kind of an interesting deal. They have the Toronto Raptors, so obviously they play games in Canada. But
of course,
I don't know what the deal is there. But just in terms of growing the game globally,
yeah.
I mean, the NBA, if you look at the top 10 best players in the NBA, at least half of them right now are not from the U.S.
No, right. Yeah,
Probably
absolutely.
More. So I think the NFL is kind of going for that. It's just different with football, though, because there's basketball. You can grow up really playing basketball and getting in the weeds of it and being coached and playing AAU and playing high school ball in other countries. You don't do that as much in football.
Yep.
So they're growing the popularity. I think the NFL is doing it more just for money. Well,
it's a big money maker.
Well, because they make these international games. I mean, you can play it whenever you want and call it prime time.
All right,
basically.
All right, so let me throw this at you. Could it be at one point of the growth of American football to all these other countries that we do have an NFL UK or an NFL Europe again, and they're good enough? I'm talking years down the road,
like
maybe even decades.
League. Like a different league.
A totally different league. Nobody's moving. Nobody's moving from the States anywhere. I don't think so. I don't think that's happening. However, could they grow it enough? I mean, they got these academies. They're showing people how to play the game. You're developing the game. Like, I'm talking decades down the road. Could there be an international Super Bowl, NFL United States versus NFL Europe?
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, could it be? Think about it. If it grows that big, because look at America. Look at America. Just hear me out. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here. Thinking America. What's the number one sport in America? It's football, right? You can make a case for other sports, but
no, it's football. It's
in America,
close.
football.
You can't make a case for other sports.
Football's
in my opinion.
the greatest. Over in NFL Europe, it's soccer or football, right? But what if you could change that based on the popularity of the game? And then the best athletes over there go to where? Soccer right now. What if they started going to football? As youngsters, I'm talking about, and being embedded into it like we are here in the States. Could it ever, maybe it's 50 years from now. Maybe it's 100. I don't know. But could it ever get, and do the owners think about that? Or is it strictly, hey, let's just grow our brand internationally, right? Make a ton of money doing it, but there's really no end, product in sight. It's still our 32 teams. Maybe they expand over time. I don't know. Maybe there's more teams in the NFL over time. Who knows? But I got to think if they grow enough and enough good athletes start playing the American game of football, could there be another full league of the National Football League in a different continent?
And they just play the one game.
No, they have their own league. Whoever wins that league plays the winner of the NFL United States.
The cross game, the Super Bowl is just one game.
International, I don't know.
But like right now, the Super Bowl is the AFC, NFC.
Yeah, like the Olympics, but with American football.
Right. But
not so many countries, obviously.
But like what I'm saying is like the Super Bowl is an AFC team versus an NFC team. AFC and NFC teams play each other throughout the year.
Right.
So these two teams these two leagues would never play each other.
No.
And then just once a year they meet up and play this like
maybe it's an exhibition, but it counts or something. Yeah. Something like that.
Or we do like a tournament.
Yeah.
And make it really Olympic style.
What if it was like Olympics? What if you had NFL Europe, NFL Brazil, NFL Spain? I mean, just think. I mean, this is way out there, and it would take a long time to get those athletes to be good enough to compete against the National Football League.
I think
although that basketball player thinks they can, I'll play NFL.
Yeah. If I had I mean, we're not inside the owners' heads, but I'd be willing to bet that if you talk to them about stuff like this, they'd probably say they wouldn't mind that type of thing as collateral.
Yeah.
But for now, they just want the big money.
Even could you imagine NFL Europe today with the hype behind what the league's doing internationally? It would have made it. It would still be playing.
Yeah, I agree.
That was a great league. I mean, it wasn't, it was NFL. It was guys that didn't make the NFL. It was kind of similar to the XFL and the UFL right now, or the UFL, right? The NFL Europe produced some really good talent. You go over there and you play for that city, if you had that hype and the marketing behind, like it might be pretty big. It's worked before.
It was basically this time last year, a year ago, we did, Mia O'Brien and myself did the Scoop series where we talked to different players for the Jags and coaches and whatever. One of our episodes was Tony Gilbert.
Oh, the ice cream.
Yeah,
I saw that.
And Tony Gilbert, who's the linebackers coach, is one of our episodes. And NFL Europe kept him a job, and it kept him in the league.
Yep.
They whoever the defense coordinator was when he was here,
Caldwell. Wasn't it? Yeah,
might have been. Yeah, that sounds right.
It was Caldwell.
And then Shaq Harris was a GM.
Yep.
they came to him. They said, "Hey, Tony, like, look, like, I know you probably don't want to go. I know it's a lot, like, whatever. But you go, you bust your ass. You be the best player there.
Yep.
You be the lead. Like, the other guys are gonna be wanting to go out and stuff. Don't do like be the best player on that team. Kick ass.
Yep.
And you're gonna still have a job in the NFL. Like, and so he did.
Right.
He said he went there. He did everything.
Yeah.
Came back and he was able to prolong his career and play a lot longer in the NFL because of it.
I thought those attendances were pretty good back in the NFL Europe. You know,
remember,
Frankfurt was big, right? They had a big team. Barcelona had a good team.
Can I tell you my only memory of NFL Europe?
Well, yeah. How old were you? Were you even
young?
What are you, 24?
I'm 26.
26?
The tail end of it was when I was first starting to watch and understand football.
Okay.
I never watched an NFL Europe game. My only memory is they had the NFL Europe teams on Madden.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And they were not good.
Yeah.
So you would just... You'd play as the Jaguars. You want to just beat up on somebody, so you'd play the Berlin Fire or whoever you played and just destroy them.
That's
my only memory of NFL Europe.
Look, a lot of guys played over there and then came over to the NFL, had successful careers, and with all the hype with the NFL now, you'd think that people would go to those games to watch American football. You know, they'd go to more. I mean, obviously they love when the NFL comes because that's elite, but it's still NFL Europe, and it was still pretty good football.
So what do you think would be more likely to happen? Do you think it'd be more likely that the NFL would maybe re-spark an NFL Europe type thing? Not to the point that you were talking about a minute ago where it's a competitive league.
It's just maybe a feeder league or just a league.
Do you think that would happen again? Or would they actually tie a knot with the UFL right now?
No. I think they'd always stay separate. NFL's big machine. They're not sharing it with anybody. You know what I mean?
Anybody in the States?
Yeah, even UFL. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, you try to get some of their players, maybe.
But if you did another Europe thing, and you'd give the NFL's obsessed with this international thing, they love it. So that'd be an opportunity to expand more overseas.
That's true. Yeah, you mean take those players from the UFL and be like, hey, go play in. Yeah. I would if I was young and single, especially like. Didn't have a lot of responsibility. You want me to go play football in Spain?
And I'm sure, because you know this as well as anybody, not just players as well, and your tape is your resume ultimately. Yep. But knowing people does matter, right?
Yeah, totally.
You got a big reason that you got an opportunity in Jacksonville was TC from Boston College.
Without question.
If I'm a quarterback or if I'm just a player in the UFL and I'm trying my hardest to get back into the NFL.
Yeah.
And NFL Europe exists. And I can stay in the UFL where they're going to watch tape and whatever, but they're totally separate from the NFL.
Yep.
Or I can be in NFL Europe where they're tied and there's more connections.
Yeah.
Back and forth to the States, and I've got my defensive coordinator can put a bug in somebody's ear back in the States that's coaching the Rams or something. I would do that. To your point, too, especially if you're single and don't have kids. That obviously throws a wrench in things. But
you could always. I mean, you bring them with you too. I mean, it's not like what an experience that would be. But no, I do think I think that they would resurrect NFL Europe. They had it. Why not just bring it back? You got all the hype. You're in there anyway. You're in some of the cities already. You know what I mean?
And I think with how much easier it is to stream games now, and how much easier, like how much more cost effective it is to stream games, and how many more options there are to put it on a platform.
Are you kidding me? They'd love it.
You'd easily get a TV deal.
Easy. And a better deal than the UFL probably gets, I bet.
Yeah, because you're the NFL.
Because it's the NFL. Yeah. You keep that title. All right, that's a lot going on internationally. We're going to get into our Jags as OTAs have begun. Jag Talk brought to you by Team Tommy Mack, a great group of businesses that I am honored to endorse and represent here on this show, on other shows, and all throughout social media and out in the streets. And I got a little bit of everything for you, whether it's a kick-ass place to stay right about 4 blocks from the beach in Atlantic Beach with Salt Air Inn and Suites, Carpet Man Flooring, home of the LVP, home of everything that you could put down on a floor, whether it's carpet, tile, hardwood, highest quality, lowest prices. Azar Sausage Company, I mean, homegrown and down home, third-generation company. They do it right. They do it right here. Make sure you check out the hot and the andouille, two of my favorites from Azar Sausage Company. Get that at Winn-Dixie. Code NINJAS. Don't forget about camp this summer. Moms and dads and guardians and peeps, go to codeninjas.com. Learn how to create games. Learn how to work with Roblox and Minecraft, and also get outside and get some good exercise. Family Traditions Specialty Foods, home of Coconut Joe's hot sauces. They are absolutely phenomenal. The jalapeno, the sriracha, and the mango, all very, very good. Go to their website, Family Traditions Specialtyfoods.com, and we're going to be working on a promotion for you that you can maybe get a little discount from being with Team Tommy Mac. Michael Nickus' State Farm Agency, my agent for the past 20 years, if not more. He should be yours as well. Life, auto, home, and supplemental health. A great team. They answer the call every single time. Make sure you check them out when you're looking for your next or a new agent. Graffiti Burger Bar in Jacksonville Beach, home of the 904 Pro Show each and every Thursday. This Thursday, Austin Lane is our guest. Looking forward to catching up with the former Jaguar defensive end, UFC heavyweight, and local personality. That'll be a great time. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at Graffiti Burger Bar. Brand new ownership, brand new management. The McManus Burger is absolutely incredible. We created it last week. It's a beef burger, bacon with avocado, and it's absolutely and some Swiss cheese. We threw some Swiss cheese on there. I take it without the I eat the lettuce on its own, no tomato. You take it how you want it, but get it at the Burger Bar, American Burger, Graffiti American Burger Bar in Jax Beach. J-Dog, junk removal and hauling. All you contractors out there, you're remodeling, you're building new homes, make sure you check out J-Dog. They will bring their bins for you, let you fill them up, take them out. Trust, integrity, veteran-owned and operated, and located right here in Jacksonville and all up and down the East Coast. Get J-Dog. 1-844-GET-J-Dog, and I'll take you right to him. Of course, Chris Lucero with Bail Bonds, the number one name in the bail game. You get thrown in the clink, he gets you and your friends out in a blink. Make sure you take down that number, 904-822-2245. Lock it in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. Hopefully never. But if you do, that's the man to call. All right, Jaguar Talk OTAs have begun, and the hype machine is in full force. Holy cow. Trevor Lawrence drops back. He turns his back to the defense. Here comes the new rookie from LSU doing a simple in route. Nobody covered him. Holy cow, he's wide open. Holy cow, it's a completion. Oh, what a play. That was so incredible to see all over social media this morning. I was just like, wow. Man, Brian Thomas Jr. can catch an in route with nobody covering him. It's really good. It's really, really. They're not the only ones. I'm seeing up in Carolina, Bryce Young. They're like, oh, he's the offense is clicking. It's going like, okay, throwing on air. It's great. I mean, you got to start somewhere. You can't be going against each other all day long. I'll tell you this. Look, all jokes kidding aside, I do like the fact no depth chart. I thought that was good move. Hey, man, we're just here. We're going to check you out. We're going to put you in some stuff. We're going to work on technique, put you in some situations, see if you can handle it mentally, physically, all of that. So I like that. And I think I did see a little conditioning. And I tell you what, I know conditioning sucks. It sucks. I hated it too. But it builds mental toughness. It builds mental toughness. And when you do it this early and you keep doing it throughout, you don't have to kill them. But even after practice is done, you run some gases for time, get that heart rate going, get them sprinting a little bit, getting them, thinking about how many more do I have to do? Because it does. It creates that mental toughness that I think this team lacked last year. It sounds like from all what do you hear or reports yesterday, the energy was great. Everyone's excited. Everyone's fired up and ready to go. So we'll keep our eye on it. Look, I'm just going to not get into the hype this year, right? I'm not going to get into it. I wish nothing but the best. I saw Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke at Tom Coughlin's dinner and tournament. Great. Said hello. Wish them nothing but the best. Want the team to kick ass. I got them at 10 wins, making the playoffs. I don't really care if they have 12. I don't care if they have 9. Just get into the show and let's see if you can make anything happen. I think that's the goal each and every year. Of course, guys are going to look good out there. You should. You're big-time athletes. You're not really going against anybody yet, but it's time to get in shape. It's time to work on those mental toughness aspects. Look, the weight room, a big believer in the weight room to build mental toughness, because even today, there's time. I don't want to do that extra set or that last set, but I make myself do it because it's better for me. Maybe not at my age of 53, almost 54, but at that age, getting ready to play in an NFL season, it's good for him. No doubt about that, but that should be, to me, just every day. You got to condition and you got to lift and build that mental toughness for this team. Look, I have always said it all throughout last year, Grammage. It wasn't talent for me. It never was last year. They had plenty of talent to get into the playoffs. They did. It wasn't talent. It was all mental. So we got to fix that. Christian Kirk, I'll wrap it up with this because Christian Kirk had some interesting comments I found recently saying he's ready to wake some people up and remind them the player I am. We don't need no reminding, Captain Kirk. You are a total stud player. You fit great in as a slot. You've played outside. You're a go-to guy. I know everybody talked about Trevor's injuries, and rightfully so, but you missed in the last 5 games hurt this offense, no question about that. So, you don't got to remind me anything. I know you're a great player. I'm looking forward to seeing you healthy, and they need you. They need you big time, man. They need you to be healthy all year long and produce all year long. And regardless of who we've added with Gabe, with Brian Thomas Jr., the offense's passing game is going to run through you and Ingram. Those guys are going to get theirs. It's going to be fun and exciting. But those underneath and intermediate routes from the inside slot and the tight end position are going to be critical for first downs, for big plays, when they clear everybody out because they're so afraid of the speed outside that they let Captain Kirk go to work one-on-one. And I don't think there's many a DB, or I know there's no backer or safety that can cover him one-on-one in that open field. That's what makes him special, and that's when he can really shine. He can do a lot of other things. I'm not saying he can't, but in an ideal world, you got Christian Kirk working that slot, Ingram working that tight end, and the 2 outside guys with speed crushing it downfield and intermediate, right? Deep digs underneath and in the seam. So hopefully that all comes easier said than done, right? But that's the idea. And I'm looking forward to seeing Christian get back. And that hurt them last year, Grammage. He was a big loss on that. Especially, look, the passing game opens the running game. Kill the passing game a little, you're going to kill the running game a little. That's how Doug Peterson's offense works.
You got to protect Trevor.
Well, without doubt, yeah.
I really like the weapons on paper, but I really like the weapons on paper last year.
Yeah, no, I know.
But if the same mess has happened in his last year where Trev has the ball for less than 3 seconds and the inside of the pocket is crashing in on him.
Yep.
I don't know how effective they're going to be.
I agree.
If they're building a better wall that's protecting him and then moving some bodies in the run game, and ETN is up above 4 yards a carry again, and then all of a sudden Christian Kirk's going to be unstoppable. Evan Ingram's going to be unstoppable. Brian Thomas is going to make big plays. All the stuff you just said will come to fruition if those things are clicking. But I think it starts with those 5 guys up front.
It does. It totally does. And they're running it back for the most part, other than Mitch Morse, which is a great addition. We'll see how the rest of the 4 shake down when the regular season hits. We kind of have an idea. I agree with that. You can combat some of that with quick throws, and you need Christian Kirk out there for those quick throws. Those quick, little option routes, 5-yard option routes, 10 yards, whatever. Get it out quick.
You mean you don't
First
want
read.
Another receiver bubble screen?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no doubt about it. But I agree. That's going to be the whole thing. Look, I think on the defensive front, they've done a great job. On the offensive line, we'll see. I want nothing but the best, but what are we going to get? Graham makes a great point. I think Mitch Morse, obviously an upgrade. He should bring a lot of professionalism and toughness to the team. Ezra played a little bit last year. He's a great athlete, right? Playing devil's advocate. He did get beaten out up in Minnesota. That's why he was expendable. Came down here, had an injury, got an injury. Again, big guy that's athletic as all get out. Without question, they like that part about him. Let's see him, really solidify that left guard spot. Sheriff, get back to 2 years ago and some of last year. I know I just think he was beat up. Hopefully he's, back to good health. Anton watching practice yesterday, but he'll be ready. And, look, I'm not closing the door on anything when it comes to the tackle position, especially with Cam, too, because right now he's our guy. But anything can happen out there. You know what I mean? Like in the NFL, someone may need a tackle. Maybe if you're willing to, put Anton at left, or maybe you're willing to put Walker at left for now, and Javon's going to be, a guy that you can count on. You don't know that yet. You're not making that call yet. You have no idea yet. But as camp goes on, they get in the pads and things start happening around the league, it'll be interesting to see. We got the cap number. We got room. Are we going to add anybody? That's when you figure out, you're like, all right, we got to do something here. But they are, as far as the O-line, they're running it back. And I hope they're right, because they ran it back with the D-line last year, and they were wrong. The interior defensive line was not good, and all you really did was redo your interior defensive line's contracts to give them money, which at the time sounded great, right? Things happen. I know now the old Devon's back. Okay, Again, I'm not going to get too excited about him either. Last year, all we heard about great camp. Well, great camp doesn't mean anything when you go against offensive line. It's not very great. So we're going to have to taper that a little bit, or at least I will. And I want nothing. Listen, I've raved about that young man since he's gotten here. I want to see. I don't think he should be a nose tackle either. I think he's got to be more of a 3, but I think Armstead takes that position. So keep him in condition and keep him low to the ground, and he'll play that much better. And I hope that's the case for Devon Hamilton, because he's a big athletic guy that should be a pretty disruptive force for your team. Sometimes he is. A lot of times he's not. So that's got to change. Hopefully the year of last year being sick and injured and whatnot is behind him, and he comes back healthy and ready to go. It sounds like from day one that appears to be the case.
I've given up on the Devon Kool-Aid.
Well, I do think he's out of position, dude. You can't. If you're going to be 6'3" or 4 and play nose, you got to stay low. And every time you get tired, you get high. It's just natural. Be great if you got tired and you got lower. Then you just fall to the ground and they fall on top of you. No, I'm kidding, but yeah, I'm not. I just don't think he can play nose. So if you're going to play him at nose, we'll see what happens. But no linebacker can make plays when he's in your lap. I'll tell you that right now. And he was in their lap way too much last year.
I'll say this as a guy.
When he played.
You're going to know this better than I will because you played on defense. But just as to me, offensive and defensive line is the opposite. If it's a good sign, if you're playing well or not. At the offensive line, if I hear nothing from you, it probably means you're playing pretty well.
Right.
Penalties, not getting beat, that type of thing.
Right.
Defensive line, if I never hear from you, that probably means you're getting blocked.
That you're not doing anything. Yep.
His entire time he's been here, it's been really few and far between, man, that I've ever been watching a Jaguar game and even mentioned Devon Hamilton's name. Yeah. It doesn't happen a lot. Yeah. And he's in the interior, so it's a little bit different from an edge rusher.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I agree with that.
I honestly, and he's been here since what, 2019 now or 2020?
I think Urban drafted him, didn't he?
He was before Urban, I'm pretty sure.
Was he?
He was.
Well, he came out. That's right. He came out with Boza. So whenever Boza was coming,
I think he was in the C.J. Henderson, Kayvon Chason draft. I believe.
I think you're right.
Which is the 2019
Listen,
draft,
that's fair. He's disappeared season. A lot,
Well, I just like it.
But
I don't even know if it's
should be a lot better.
I don't even know if it's a disappearing because Josh Allen, because we've seen a Josh Allen have a 3-sack game or whatever. So when you don't hear from him, that's disappearing. With Devon, I just don't know that he's that player.
Yeah.
I think that's just who he is. I think he's a guy that at best can just kind of not get totally beat and sort of hold his own. But at his best, I've never gotten the sense that he's this force that guards and centers can't block.
Well, look, I think there's no can't block. I agree with that. I mean, he's not dominating in that fashion. right? And there's not many guys that you can't block. Aaron Donald, you can't block one-on-one, right? I mean, but look, what they counted on, as we all know, is the 22 season at the end. All of them were playing pretty well, defensive front, including him. He was making plays. No double-digit sacks or nothing like that, but you were counting on him being, like, getting even better. Like, that's coming. I got more of that coming. We thought that with Roy Robertson-Harris. We thought that with Foley. He was supposed to be the number one free agent draft or pick the year that he came to us.
He doesn't
never stay healthy.
He doesn't get talked about enough as like one of the most disappointing Jags free agent signings ever.
Man, the injuries sucked, right? They're part of it, but
sure, but that matters.
It's part of the mix, right? You know, that was a big disappointment.
The other team's
and watch,
not gonna...
he'll go to the Houston Texans and get healthy and kick our ass. You know what I mean? He'll be like, where was that when you were playing? On occasion he gave it.
That'd be a tough
But anyway, that's what they were counting on. So, devil's advocate for the Jags making that move with Devon. What are they thinking now? Hey, let's get them back to that. Let's get them back to that. If we can get them back to the end of 22 consistently, we'll take it. And then he's worth the money. He may not be a dominant force. He may not get, 5, 6, 7, 8 sacks, right? But he'll be good for us. I mean, look, I tell you what, it's funny how as bad as that interior D-line was, as bad as they were, we still were really good on third down as a unit. Like, wicked good. Like, top 10. It creeped up towards the end, but we were in that 33, 35% range on defense. So somebody was doing something. They may not have got the stats. That doesn't happen, if you don't got guys making plays up front. Now, I agree with you. They underperformed last year. But that's what they're thinking. Devon's going to get back. Roy Robertson-Harris. Because Roy he's sporadic too. He'll play great, and then you won't hear his name, and then he'll play great. And then, it's kind of been their whole team. Last year, anyway, look good, don't look good. Look good. Offense look good, defense don't look good. Defense looks good, offense don't look good. Up and down, it was all year. Even when they were 8-3, we were like kind of a weird 8-3. Like,
you know what that means? That means your football team is average.
Yeah,
that's what it means.
Yeah,
because
it's not very good.
Watch any game you want, any given Sunday. 80 to 85% of teams probably in the NFL have weeks like that all the time.
Yeah.
Where one week their offense looks phenomenal, the defense looks awful, and the next week it's the opposite. And as a fan, you're going, what in the world? The offense was so good last week, and now the defense picked it up. And it's because every game has a flow and a pace and a way that's being played. Some games are offensive games.
Yep.
Some games are defensive struggles. Like it's like the Monday night game against the Bengals, that was an offensive football game.
Well,
both offenses
we never
were
touched their QB.
Right, but both offenses were marching up and down the field. Yeah. Correct. But a good defense, a good to an elite defense versus an average defense like we had, would have had a premier corner or something get a pick six, make a play, and change the game.
Right. Yeah.
Our premier corner got cooked by Jamar Chase for an 80-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and that's the point. Like, versus other games where maybe the weather's bad or it's hot outside for whatever reason, it's a defensive game, and the offense, a Patrick Mahomes-led offense, figures it out at the end, and pulls it out.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just
I do, but that's the difference. It's clutch. Is what it comes down to.
Yeah, exactly.
Clutch team.
100%. 100%.
Right? A team like, because KC record-wise didn't have the best year last year, but they got hot when they got hot, and then they know how to win, and then they took it all the way to the Super Bowl title. Right? They find the way to win, is what you're saying. But, hey, think about this. We believe that we are what the record states, right? We've been 9-8 2 years in a row. That's one game over 500. That's average.
Yes.
It is. So 10-7, get in. That's a great thing about the playoffs. Get in, and then anything can happen, in my opinion. And that's the goal. So 10 wins gets you in. I think it's going to be a tough year. But I think they win. I think they win more than they lose. It's all, I'm telling you right now, if they get the attitude right, if they set the tone now, and it can carry them through about being a physical, mentally tough football, emotionally tough football team, they'll have a good year. They'll have a good year. If they do what they did, we all know. And you know what? They're sick of hearing it. I'm sure they are, but that's all we know. That's all I know is what I saw last year. So, no, I'm not going to go in this year like, oh, man, this is going to be incredible. Oh, just wait. I heard that shit last year. I won't tell you who said it, but I had a media member come up to me during camp last year and say, Tommy, what do you think? Do you think this receiving core is going to be better than Jimmy and Keenan? And I looked at him. I was like, are you out of your effing mind? Like, they haven't even taken a snappy. Jimmy and Keenan, they're better than Jimmy and Keenan. But that was the hype because of Ridley. Look at him run. Look how fast he is. Look how fast he runs his routes. Holy cow. We're going to set records. We're going to do all this stuff. Everybody was kissing his ass. It was so nauseating. And then it wasn't working. Then it didn't work. We all know the ending of the story. So forgive me if I'm not going to be a part of the hype machine this year. I'll try not to combat it, but it does bother me. I got to be perfectly honest with you. It bothers me because we learned our lesson last year. And the team, one thing that Doug's got to instill, don't listen to the hype, players. Coaches, don't listen to the hype. We haven't done squat yet. Nothing until we hoist that Super Bowl title. That's got to be the message. Forget all the hype. You're not that good. You're not. You're good. You got plenty, and you got a chance to be great. But at this point, no. You're just like any other team. You're just like, look, Carolina thinks they're good right now. With everything they've added, new coach, he's thinking what he's done with quarterbacks in the past is going to translate to Bryce Young. He's raving about him right now. That doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? So let's earn it this year. We're going to celebrate victories, no doubt about it, like it's nobody's business, and we're going to critique losses, whether they like it or not. And that's what's going to happen. And it's a fun thing to do. And hopefully they win more than lose because there's nothing better when this team wins. And I know this may be a little bit out there, but if our team had been winning this whole time, I don't think there's even a question about the stadium. I really don't. If we were a perennial playoff or, we'd get there more so than not, if we were that kind of franchise, that kind of organization, that kind of winning team, if 2017 rolled into 2018, 2019, okay, maybe 2020 we missed, but we're back, you know what I mean? If we had that kind of stretch, I don't think anybody in the world would even bat an eye at getting a $2 billion, $1 billion stadium. We'd be like, yes, let's rock. Actually, you'd be bitching the fact that there's only 62,000 seats because the ticket is going to be tremendously tough to get when they start winning. You do realize that. We're going to go from 70 to 62. That's a big difference. And when they start winning, yeah, you'll be bitching about the ticket prices. No doubt. But hopefully we get to that because then it'll be sold out and we don't have to worry about anything. But we'll get there, no doubt about that. All right, that's going to do it for me this time around. I got Thursday this week of the Horse's Mouth. Thursday night, 9:04 Pro Show at the Graffiti Burger Bar in Jacksonville Beach. Austin Lane is our guest. Looking forward to catching up with the ex-Jag and current UFC heavyweight and local personality. June the 6th, I got to take a week off. By the way, next week, Friday, I'm out, bud. I'm traveling to Massachusetts to go see my Kelsey girl perform at the CLI Conservatory. The family's going. But when we come back, June 6th, Tom and Kelly Coughlin from the Jay Fund, of course. We've got them lined up. Marcus Stroud after that. Saw Marcus past couple of days at the TCJ Fund. And we'll talk about what he's got going on in his awesome career and all of that. Thursday nights for the 904 Pro Show, 7 p.m. at the Graffiti Burger Bar in Jax Beach. Until next time, stay safe out there and be cool. And we'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mack. Peace.